We're going to get this party started. I just like to share a few comments at the beginning. My name is Jim Berline, and I'm chair of the board of the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan. I didn't do anything yet. So I just wanted to extend a genuine thank you to all of the people who have sponsored us, our donors, for taking this time out of their busy week to come and share this celebration with us. 70 years is a pretty remarkable accomplishment. And we're here to do two things. We're here to celebrate our first 70 years, but we're also here to kick off and launch the next 70 years. We have such a great team. Our mission is so needed. And unfortunately, it will always be needed. So our goal is to keep thriving, keep working hard to serve the patients and families that are suffering from some form of blood cancer. I also want to make a special thank you to Mead Lexus, our presenting sponsor. And where are the Mead Lexus people? You're up close, good. Thank you so much. And also Beaumont, great supporters. We'll be talking more about both of those organizations as we go through the evening. But this promises to be one of those memorable evenings that you won't forget soon. A lot of you have seen some of these blinking ice cubes. There are more of those for sale, and all of the funds generated by the sale of those will go to serve more of our patients and families that we serve. Also, out that door is what's referred to as an alley. It's a little better than an alley, but it's the alley. And in it is the newest Lexus NX SUV. So if you're inclined to go out and make a phone call or get some fresh air, take a look at that vehicle. It's pretty amazing. So speaking of Mead Lexus, we have a little video that has been produced where they express their commitment to our foundation. I'm going to play it now.
One of the biggest things that stood out to us when we partnered with the Blood Cancer Foundation was their value and their compassion for both the patients and their families. Values are a huge part of our culture here at Mead Lexus, so being able to work with somebody who shares in that commitment to putting people first has just been wonderful.
It's been a great opportunity to see firsthand the impact that the Blood Cancer Foundation has had on so many lives, and continuing our support with them in more annual events, and just looking forward to seeing what they can do in the next 70 years as they embark on this journey.
We were first introduced to the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan in 2020 through one of our team members. That year we had the opportunity to sponsor their annual golf outing, the Grays Reef Golf Classic. After seeing their commitment to their mission throughout the event, we were excited to expand our partnership with them to help create a bigger impact throughout the community.
At the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, we are so grateful for the partnership of organizations like Mead Lexus. We can't do what we do without the support of corporate partners like the folks here at Mead. They allow us to deliver services that are critically important to families, including education and information about disease, emotional support, financial assistance, and social support.
We greatly appreciate the partnership with Mead Lexus and the assistance they provided to the foundation.
So thanks again to the Mead folks. And enough of me now. We're going to have dinner, and then we'll be back with the program. Enjoy. I hope most of you have finished and are at least partway into your desserts. But since it's not a Friday or a Saturday, we're going to make sure that we keep this show moving because many of us have work to do tomorrow again. So again, I want to acknowledge Meade, Lexus, and Beaumont for their extraordinary support and sponsorship of this event. We also had a number of other sponsors that I'd like to, too many to mention, but if they're listed in the program. So if all of you would make sure that you look in your program and see the other organizations and individuals who were supportive of our foundation and our event tonight. I'd also like to ask all of our current board members, past board members, and emeritus board members to stand, and I hope that half the room doesn't stand up. We're kind of scattered all around, but we've got a lot of amazing people who have devoted a lot of their personal time and resources to help us fulfill our mission. So thank you very much. We also, for this event, had an extraordinary gala committee. So I'd like those people to stand up as well. Some of them are board members, so they just keep standing. And then finally, I'd like to ask the staff. Now, the problem with the staff to stand up is they're probably all standing up already. And some of them are back here working, but I do want to acknowledge the extraordinary team that Heidi has built. What they do and their commitment to the success of this organization is truly remarkable. And I really honor and respect all of them because they just do an amazing job. So thank you. About 8.5 years ago, we made the decision, the board made the decision, an executive committee, that we needed a new CEO. And we decided to form a search committee. And the search committee decided that we didn't want to make any missteps here, so we hired a search firm who just dealt with the not-for-profit sector. And so we looked at resumes, and ultimately we met, I think, 6 or 7 people face to face. And as we sat there, one would come in and they're pretty good. The next one, they're pretty good. And then the next one came in and said, holy smokes, we better get that one before she changes her mind. Heidi Grix has been our CEO for over 8 years. She's a remarkable leader. She's one of those people who is fearless. She could call me on the phone and say, we just lost our biggest donor, and her reaction would be, we'll go get another one. And if we gained our biggest donor, got a new one, she'd say, oh, we got one, let's go get another one. She's like the rudder in a ship, same emotion every day, just a great natural leader. So it's an honor for me to introduce you all to Heidi Grix, the President and CEO of the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Can y'all hear me? I tend to do better when I walk around a little bit, so I hope it's not difficult to follow. The other half of that story that Jim just told you is when I went for that interview, I was not interested in this job. I lived in Dexter, Michigan, and the job was in Troy. Some people know that drive, right? And there was this search firm that contacted me and said, hey, I want you to go. And I kept saying, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. And finally, he said, look, if you go to this interview and you don't love these people, I will not bother you about this job again. And I said, done. I got in the car, literally got ready, driving over, saying to myself, this is not my job. These are not my people. I'm sure that they're wonderful. I'm sure that their program is amazing, but this is not my drive. And I walked in there. I spent about 2 hours with Jim and a couple of other board members, and I thanked them for their time, and I walked back out to the car and literally put my head on the steering wheel and said, okay, now I got to figure out how to make this work. I fell in love with this mission.
I fell in love with our patients. I fell in love with what we do. And I have been grateful for this work every single day. Thank you. You told the first half, I was going to tell the second half. So we're here to celebrate a big milestone tonight. It's our 70th anniversary, 70 years. We look pretty darn good for 70 years, don't we? That accounts for more than 30,000 patients, more than 100,000 members of their families. Services started small. We started with comfort to families who had lost children to leukemia mainly, spreading to fundraising so that we could support research to help end that disease. Finally, to financial support, which came a few years after our founders incorporated the organization. And it was in response to a family out of, I think it might have been Heartland, Michigan. Abby, where you can tell me probably where it is. And their daughter, Mickey, was diagnosed with leukemia, and they couldn't afford the medication, and so they were selling off their livestock from their farm to pay for this child's medication. So our founder, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, drew together the volunteer board and talked with them and said, what can we do? Because they knew if they gave money to support this child and her medication, they would have to do it for every person that came after that. They were undaunted. They called the newspaper, they did a fund drive, and raised $2,600 and some change in, quote, from our founder, nickels, dimes, and dollar bills. It was the beginning of the patient aid, medication aid fund, and we have continued that to this day. In our more recent years, today, we have stepped away from doing research, providing resources for research. There are big people, big organizations out there raising money for research. We know that we can help families, and so we decided in the last 5 or 10 years to focus on that. Our goal every day is to make people's lives who have blood cancer more stable and more just better. We are likely best described by our founder, Sylvia Brown, in her own words, as she looked back on the accomplishments of CLF, and I have to read a little bit so I get it right, and the humble support that came out of her and her husband Harry's own tragedy. They lost their daughter, Sandy, at 2.5 years old. And they decided that they didn't want other people to go through this alone. They didn't want other families to experience this alone, and that's how we were founded. I need more light over here. I guess I have to stand over here. So, when the founders' children were lost, there was no support system, there was no comfort, there was no real roadmap, and there wasn't a lot of hope for this terrible diagnosis. Just the quick realization that time would be short. Recognizing that they had become the support to so many families years later that they knew didn't exist for them at the time, she said, do unto others as we would have had done unto us. And that's the spirit that we try to carry every day. Today, those same diagnoses are much different. The diagnosis that killed so many children back in the 50s is now about 95% survivable. Those children go on to live long and healthy lives. And the advances in medicine have created hope for people with all types of blood cancer, not just leukemia. CLF has been there every step of the way. And in 2020, we became the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan to better represent all of the patients that we serve, children and adults, and the nearly 200 different types of blood cancers that we support. It truly does take a village to care for people that we love. And as our founders set out, we continue today. Partnerships make all the difference in the world. And all of you here tonight are our partners in delivering those services, as well as countless others who are not with us tonight, countless others throughout our history, have been and continue to ensure the work that we do. We do have some partners here. You heard Jim talk about them. They're in your program. Beaumont and Carmanos, where are you? Thank you so much for all that you do. And many financial supporters as well. You can see who they are on the screens around the room as well as in your program. Our patients reflect every walk of life, every socioeconomic status and level, every level of need. Cancer is not selective, and blood cancer certainly is cancer and not selective. What we know in our practice, 77% of families on our service today are qualified under ALICE guidelines. Anyone ever heard of ALICE guidelines? It's a United Way term. It's asset limited, income constrained, employed. These are people who are working full time. They're working 1 job, 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs to make ends meet, but they still can't quite do it. They are defined as 1 disaster away from falling into the social safety net. For our patients, that disaster is their diagnosis. We help them to stabilize their lives, to help them keep their lives stable, and get through their treatment. I'd like to introduce you now to a special person, special family, who represents our patients. He's one of our patients. His name is Paris Jones. Is Paris back here? And Paris was diagnosed with multiple myeloma a couple of years ago, and he has been going through treatments, and fortunately, he has had the wherewithal, the thought, the just idea to document what he's been doing so that he can help other people to understand what a diagnosis looks like and what the treatment does to you. This happens about 6,000 times a year in Michigan that somebody gets diagnosed with a blood cancer, about one diagnosis every 90 minutes. No matter who you are, it changes your life dramatically. I'd like you to welcome, please, Paris.
He can't spoon feed himself. He can't stand, walk.
I got you, wait.
My life changed October 30th, 2019.
Ready?
1 second.
You're doing it. He can't go to the bathroom by himself. He honestly can't do anything. He can't even lift his arm.
You know, I started having severe back pain, and I never went to go get it checked out. The doctor, comes in, you have multiple myeloma.
So they want to discharge him, but he has nowhere to go. He can't go to rehab unless we pay $20,000 out of pocket. But apparently they can tell you that they can't give you treatment yet, even though it's something that you need. They didn't give it to him because of the insurance. If you need chemo, you should be getting chemo.
So immediately I heard the word cancer, everything just goes black.
Next chapter right now begins. Got the team with me. Man, that life game.
When something like this happens to someone like Paris, you view it as an opportunity to change the world.
Blood cancer is definitely a team effort. The Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan has definitely helped me to stay strong and to keep fighting. I just want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. for everything that you've done for my family and I. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paris Jones.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So Paris, you have been going through this diagnosis. You have been working hard to get well and be well. How has BCFM helped you through this process?
It's been, incredible as far as the different resources, emotional support, talking to, the employees there. It's been a true blessing. Different resources that you guys, helped out with, especially going back and forth to chemo and, the different travel reimbursement things that you guys provided, as far as definitely the support during the holidays, helping out with the kids and stuff like that. You guys have an amazing, phenomenal program that, helped us out during the difficult times. So it's a true blessing.
Paris is talking about our Holiday Toys program,
Yeah, it's incredible.
where we provide toys to children and gift cards to teenagers, because nobody wants to try to shop for a teenager, right? But we want to make sure that parents who are in a difficult situation or are going through treatment, or if a child in the household is going through treatment, that the children, whether it's a diagnosed child or the siblings of a diagnosed child or the children of an adult diagnosed, don't have to suffer through the holidays without the traditional holiday cheer that they would have. So we're really excited to be able to offer that. As well as, I know you took advantage of some of our travel reimbursement, you said on your trips to treatment at Carmanos. Has that been helpful for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just to able to get, especially when I first got diagnosed, I was in treatment every week. So driving back and forth from Farmington Hills to downtown, because I'm at Carmanos, it was a lot. So just to get reimbursed, that helped out a lot. So
Good. What about our social support program? Events like the Michigan State Fair Charity Preview. Have you and your family enjoyed any of those?
Oh yeah, that was, we did it for 2 years. Yep, at the Suburban Showplace. Great time. The kids loved it. My wife, Allison, who's here in the audience as well, you could stand up.
Hi, Allison.
Who's been by my side since, and it's been crazy, but love you.
So hopefully we'll see you at the Holiday Toys Open House this year, because we're back in person.
Oh, yeah.
So exciting. And Paris, what would you like to tell anybody who might recently have been diagnosed with blood cancer regarding reaching out to an organization like BCFM?
Listen, there's definitely hope to stay positive and to keep fighting. I'm a true testament of that, and that will keep you going. And always just being around positive energy. That's number one. So that's helped me a lot, especially, like I said, with my kids, my wife, and we got a great support system. That is key. So that's blessed us. So.
Good. So what we just saw was a little teaser for Paris's film, his documentary film, which is coming out in a couple of months. And I am excited to see it. I hope that there are other people in the room who will take advantage of it. And it's really geared toward helping people connect with their healthcare providers, get screened, communicate what's going on, and ask for help when you need it. So thank you, Paris, for joining us. And
thank you for having me. This is amazing. Thank you to the Blood Cancer Foundation staff. You guys have been a true blessing to me. Seriously. It's, amazing. Stacy, Jennifer, it's been incredible. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And let's have a good time tonight.
Thank you. We're planning it.
Thank you, Paris, for such a remarkable story and for sharing all of your experiences with us. Very moving. Also, I got to find out where you got those shoes. Those are some cool shoes. Now we're going to get into acknowledging our honorees for tonight. The first person is somebody I met probably 25 years ago, and went through a number of experiences with him and through a little girl who had cancer. And is one of the most remarkable people I've ever met. And I'd like to introduce a fellow board member, Dr. Kate Gowans, who's Chief Division of Pediatric Hematology and Oncology at Beaumont Hospital's Beaumont Health.
Great, thank you. Wow, what a wonderful view. This is amazing. I'm loving the ice cubes. The view of the ice cubes from up here is excellent. I am not going to walk around like Heidi does. I didn't wear shoes that are good for the walking around. So thank you. It's such a pleasure and truly a treat to see you here this evening for such an exciting celebration. I am Kate Gowans. I am the lead of pediatric hematology and oncology at Beaumont Children's, and I've just been asked to tell you a little bit about the work we do and how the work of BCFM really intersects with the work that we do as clinicians. In our work, we take care of infants, children, adolescents with all forms of cancer and benign blood disorders. And up to about age 26, we also take care of select patients whose cancer is more appropriately treated by pediatric specialists. So a very broad age range. And although we are a multidisciplinary medical team who oversees the day-to-day care of these patients and their families, it is really not apparent to many people who haven't been in a medical situation like this or who have known a person in a medical situation like this, how much we rely on organizations like Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan to deliver the care that we need. We truly rely on their expertise and their resources, and they really, truly complete the medical care that we provide. There really is a misconception in this country that if you have health insurance, that you will be able to get through a treatment like this, whether it is several months or several years. And if you don't have medical insurance, then surely there's a government program or an assistance program that will come in and take care of everything for you. And that really is far from the truth. Even in the best of circumstances, the financial fallout from contemporary medical therapies that we offer can be extraordinary, to the point that in the medical literature, we have coined a term called financial toxicity. It is real, and it is truly just the tip of the iceberg for the patients and families who deal with these illnesses, particularly when they need additional social and emotional support that is really simply not available in most community adult oncology practices. And they need additional education about their disease process and about the expectations during and after their treatment. And there is where we say, enter these amazing patient support specialists who are so much a part of what BCFM does. They are the ear and the shoulder that so many of these patients and families need. And the work is not complete without them. We need, as medical providers, and I know that there are some of my former Beaumont colleagues here, there are Carmanos colleagues here, we simply can't provide care with the best outcomes to patients and families without organizations like Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, and we appreciate all of their support, and we simply can't do it without you, so thank you. When I came to Beaumont 9 years ago to assume, back to my home state of Michigan, by the way, to assume the leadership role in pediatric oncology at Beaumont, I did not know the whole story about Dr. Chuck Main. I had met him during the interview process, and I knew that he had been at Beaumont for some time, but again, I'm going to call that just the tip of the iceberg. Dr. Main has spent over 4 decades caring for children with cancer and their families. Excuse me. Impacting hundreds of lives along the way. He has seen, as Heidi mentioned, the cure rate of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, the most common childhood cancer, go from a cure rate of 10 to 15% to over 90% in some children. He has devoted countless hours and unmeasurable amounts of energy to building and sustaining a scholarship program for survivors of childhood cancer, and continues to see patients 2 days per month in Beaumont's long-term follow-up clinic, keeping track of all of our survivors. He has also been extremely generous of his time and expertise serving on the board of BCFM, though always in his years, it was Children's Leukemia Foundation for a number of years. His name is synonymous with compassionate pediatric hematology and oncology care in Southeast Michigan. And it is my absolute pleasure and honor to accept this award on his behalf with his son this evening. Thank you.
Dr. Main, I have the privilege of being one of Dr. Main's sons, and he unfortunately can't be here this evening. Last minute, unfortunately, he came down with COVID, and then this morning, his beautiful wife, my mother, unfortunately tested positive as well, but he wants everybody to know, and he can actually see you live right now on Facebook Live, so... You have a hell of a fan club out here, I'll tell you what. He you know, I'm going to say one quick thing. I know he's extremely bummed out that he can't be here to share this incredible moment with you guys. He believes in the mission of the foundation. He truly believes in his work. He continues to work to this day, even after a quasi-retirement. He's one of the hardest working people in retirement that I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's a huge inspiration for so many. And so he's extremely humbled and honored to be presented this evening. And again, he says sorry he can't be here in person, but he's definitely with you all, and he really, really appreciates this fantastic honor and everybody coming out to support both him and all the other honorees tonight. I think we also have a little video, I believe.
Good evening. I wish I could be there in person to thank you for coming, but COVID has kept me away. I want to thank the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan for this recognition. Other than Abby and the Brown family, I probably have the longest relationship and respect for what started out 70 years ago as a Children's Leukemia Foundation. You see, in 1942, my parents, sister, and I moved to an apartment at 14th and Euclid, just a short distance from here. A family moved in across the alley. It was Harry and Sylvia Brown and their daughters Abby and later Sandy. They were a warm and loving family, and my sister became very good friends with Abby. Then in February of 1946, Sandy was diagnosed with leukemia and died the following month. It was devastating for the Brown family, but they vowed to help other families going through similar experiences. Although there had not been cures for diseases like leukemia and polio at that time, research was starting to take off. In 1947, my sister was diagnosed with polio and spent time in Herman Kiefer Hospital, which was the infectious disease hospital for this area. it was that year that Dr. Jonas Salk started research looking for the polio vaccine at the University of Pittsburgh. And it was in that same time frame of 1947 that Dr. Sidney Farber started his research into possible treatment for childhood leukemia. Dr. Farber gave the first chemotherapy in 1947, and it was a vitamin called folic acid. It did not work. Patients died even quicker. So he worked with the pharmaceutical companies to come up with drugs that were anti-folic acid. These seemed to have promise as patients went on and did live longer. Fortunately, through much trial and error, dedication, cooperative group trials, and trust by patients and families, the survival rate has improved drastically, now approaching 90%. During all the years that this medical research was going on, the patients and families needed emotional and financial support, and that's where the Children's Leukemia Foundation came in. Fast forward for me personally from when I lost my neighbor to leukemia in 1946 to 1967 when I was in pediatric hematology oncology fellowship. I walked into my boss's office and he was talking to a woman. Her back was turned to me, but when she turned around, I could see it was Sylvia Brown. She greeted me with one of her famous warm hugs and smiles. Once we were reacquainted, it was always reassuring to know the Children's Leukemia Foundation was available to my patients and their families. Having been a board member, I could see firsthand all the good that was being done across the state. I also want to thank all of my fellow healthcare providers for their continued work on behalf of those special children and their families. Thank you again to the board of the Blood Cancer Foundation for this recognition. Good evening.
So on behalf of Dr. Main, we'll take this back to him. He's feeling fine. So is my mom. Everybody's going to be great, and they greatly appreciate this honor. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight. Sure.
Truly remarkable people, and I don't know if anybody ever saw the movie Patch Adams. Dr. Main was Patch Adams. What he did for kids and the relationship he had with kids, he just went right to their level and became their best friend. Just a remarkable human being. And as he indicated, he was on our board while he was still active in practice. And then as he transitioned into retirement, Kate became a member of our board. So we had kind of a seamless relationship with Beaumont and their pediatric oncology team. The next award we're going to recognize is the Founders Award. And I'd like to introduce Abby Pook. Abby Pook, director of Sylvia and Harry Brown, daughter of Sylvia and Harry Brown. As the founder's daughter, this seems only fitting to have her award, the next award, the Founders Award.
I'm so pleased and honored to be here tonight with my good friend Debbie Benton. My Aunt Renee and my cousin Zach were supposed to be here tonight, and they can't be with us because of COVID. Sylvia and Harry Brown had a very special relationship. They were a team. They had a deep, profound love for each other, always wanting to help others. Glenn, you are the perfect person to receive this award. I remember about 40 years ago, my mother telling me, I hired this young man just out of college. He's amazing. He will be the perfect fit for CLF. Glenn, you have truly embodied my mother's spirit and passion. You have brought my mother's vision to life. And this is why we are awarding this very prestigious award, the Founders Award. Glenn, thank you for making a difference. to many people, and my parents are smiling down on us tonight.
I'm honored. I have the privilege of leading this organization for 28 years, being on staff for 30. And I've told a couple of board members I met tonight, Sylvia initially hired me as her PR man. And so I always felt like I needed to wear a check jacket or something like that to fill that role in. I didn't really know anything about leukemia when I first came to Children's Leukemia Foundation, so since I was the PR guy, I was writing all the news releases, I had to look the word up for proper spelling every time I did a news release. So I've been in touch with this mission and so privileged to carry the whole idea of what Sylvia and Harry established, and having worked many years also with Dr. Main, is such an honor to be associated on this stage tonight with him as well. Of really having a passion for patients and families. That's really what we were always about. Even in the days when we dedicated a significant amount of our budget to medical research, what we were doing day to day was really caring for families. And so I'm just tickled to see this team now really continuing to be part of that. I'm glad to be part of it again as well. In the meantime, I've also been touched very personally by leukemia. And you know, everyone who works for Children's Leukemia Foundation is touched personally, because we're dealing and working with patients and families every day that we work. So it's not like you can't be personally involved. But in the years that I was associated with the organization, I lost a cousin to leukemia. And then since I've left the organization in 2008, I've lost a brother to Hodgkin's lymphoma after he battled his disease for 14 years. And then in 2019, my wife, Cindy, died from leukemia after only a 76-day battle. So it's definitely a part of my blood. So I'm really honored to be part of this organization, to still be involved, and thank you very much for honoring me tonight.
When I first became involved with what was the Children's Leukemia Foundation, Glenn was the CEO at the time, so I had a chance to serve on the board under his leadership for several years. And so it's an honor to recognize him tonight for all that he's done to build this organization and lead it for a good part of our 70-year history. Our next award is the Sandra Ann Legacy Award. And we're going to ask you to bear with us as Heidi and I give a little detail. Children Share and Fast are not only leaders in our community, but leaders in creating bright futures. This is why we felt the Sandra Ann Legacy Award was so appropriate for them. Much like Sylvia and Harry's daughter Sandra, whose loss spurred this involvement in CLF, the Fast daughter Kimberly embodied a zest for life like no other, inspiring so many of her determination, attitude, and beautiful spirit.
So the first time that this award was presented was back in 1966, when Sylvia Brown, our founder, was honored as one of the top 10 working women in Detroit. I can't imagine that name going very far nowadays, but in '66 it was a great name. There was a week of events celebrating these 10 women. There were lunches, there were radio interviews. They were really important people and very, very well received by Southeastern Michigan, and they were very well known. At the end of the week of the celebrations, there was a big dinner, and each of the women received an award and some commendations. And following that dinner, Sylvia went home to her family. And when she got home, her family was waiting with Abby, who had her camera ready, and her husband. And I presume Barry, her son, was there. But they presented her with a little bowl of baby yellow roses and a little card that said the Sandy Ann Brown Award. Along with the little card that said the Sandy Ann Brown Award was a note. Now, I'm going to ask you to indulge me. I'm going to read this note, and I want to make the point that Sandy had passed away about 20 years before this, so this was written in her voice by, I believe, Abby, and it was to honor their mother and thank her for all that she had done. My dearest mother, my heart is so full of happiness for you, and I am so deeply proud. I saw you tonight sitting there at the head table with all of those important people and thousands of others watching and honoring you. And I saw Dad and Abby bursting with joy too. Say, that Abby is a real charmer, isn't she? Oh, Mom, your shining face was beaming above them all, and you were radiantly beautiful in that lovely gown. You know, when I heard them call your name, I walked with you to receive your Susie Award. One of my happiest tears fell on your face. You felt it, didn't you, Mom? After the evening was over, and I had a chance to sit down quietly with my thoughts, I decided this was the time to write and thank you for all the sacrifices you have made in my memory. Dearest Mother, you have never forgotten me, and as proud as I am of your honor, I wanted to give you a personal award as well, the Sandy Ann Brown Award. God bless you. That award was given many years in a row to recognize the extraordinary people who make the Blood Cancer Foundation, which we are today, but then it was the Children's Leukemia Foundation of Michigan, to people who've made a difference in the lives of blood cancer patients and families. And in fact, they've made us who we are today. It is our pleasure to present this award for the final time to Chuck and Sharon Fast for their incredible efforts with CLF, now BCFM, in memory of their own daughter, Kimberly, as we transition this award to the Kimberly Fast Legacy Award.
Sharon and I are very proud to be part of this organization. And as was mentioned, in 2007, our daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. She fought that for 3.5 years. And we would very definitely like to thank the doctors and nurses that helped her. And it happens to be one here tonight that I really have to thank because it was her favorite doctor, Dr. Ubordi, and he's here this evening. Anyway, thank you. And it's been our privilege to continue to help those that need it, and it's been very nice to work with the organization, and I'd like to thank all of the board that I've worked with in the past. Again, we want to thank you here tonight for your help. Without you, we couldn't do this. Thank you very much.
So today, Sandy's memory and Sylvia's work will live on as we grow Kimberly's legacy over the next 70 years. Recognizing those who embody the courage, commitment, and persevering spirit of Kimberly Fast. Champions who ensure the emotional, social, and financial well-being of Michigan blood cancer patients while providing a guiding light during their cancer journey.
Okay. We have one more thing to talk about in our program this evening. And I'm sorry, Kristen. I'm going to introduce you to Kristen King, who has been with us for about 25 years. And Kristen thinks that she's here to talk about her experience as an employee of the organization. But the reality is she's here to receive an award. I know I'm going to make you cry. So Kristen's been with us for 25 years. She knows what it takes to deliver services to families in need. Social work, she's been in social work. She's been the department head. She's been in development. She's been back in the department doing social work. And now she's doing our social support program where she plans events for our patients and their families. She even had a stint in my role as the CEO for a little while. And she did a great job in all of them. She does all of this with 5-year-old twins, mind you. She's got a can-do attitude. She's got a very kind heart. She's got an incredible passion for our mission. And she's always part of the solution. When you say to Kristen, we have to figure out how to do this, she's like, give me a little bit of time, and she comes back and she's got a solution for us. She runs programs such as the Holiday Toys program for about 700 kids every year who receive multiple toys mailed to their houses, along with gift cards for the teenagers. She orchestrates the whole thing. The holiday toy parties, the Halloween events, the harvest events, the roller skating, the ice skating, the murder mysteries, I could go on and on and on. I have to let you know that this was a surprise to Kristen. Her family's in the back there. We had a heck of a time getting them here without letting her know. But I am so pleased to present you with the Pulse Award for BCFM. And we might actually get to hear what she wrote. She thought she was just going to give us a speech about the history of the organization.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I am very surprised, and I always joke around with the staff when I find out, or when I tell people that I've been here for 25 years, because I'm like, how can I be here for that long? I just graduated college, right? But thank you for that. It was very nice. I am grateful to be part of such a great organization. Over the years, I have worked with dedicated staff, donors, supporters, a committed board, and amazing patients and families. I started here as a patient support specialist, and I really enjoyed working with our patients and families, and with the different roles that I have held here over the years. It's always been important for me to still be able to have contact with them. So part of it is I feel like as a social worker, I'm supposed to be helping our patients, but I really feel like they've helped me. A lot of the patients are so positive, and after talking to many of them, it definitely makes you, take a little, different look at your life and everything. But a lot has changed as needs for patients since I was a patient support specialist. I sit in our patient support meetings, and I hear our team talk about the needs of our patients and the work they are doing, and they all do an amazing job trying to meet the needs and offer support. Over the years, we have been able to increase the financial aid that we offer to our families, increase programs, but more importantly, increase the emotional support that is given. We have 8 people in our PS team, and since I've been here, this is the first time we've had that many people on our staff in that department. Our PS team is made up mostly, and I say PS, it's patient support, sorry. We're made up mostly of social workers that are providing services to patients and their families throughout the state on a daily basis. I don't know how many times I've heard from patients saying that our organization stands out to them because they don't feel like just a number. Like, we know who, we know their names, we know their stories, and it's not just our patient services department, it's our whole staff. Our staff really takes an effort into getting to know our patients, and it's great to be part of a team that's working together for the best of our patients and families. Over the years, there have been some challenges, such as financial struggles and even a pandemic, but throughout all the challenges, we've continued to be here to help, and we haven't had to turn anyone away who's been diagnosed with a blood cancer. We have such dedicated donors, supporters, and board members that feel as strongly about helping our patients and families as our staff do, and have helped our organization get to where we are today. Along with being in the patient support team, I've also been able to be a part of coordinating some of the fundraising events and coordinate our Holiday Toys program. It has been really fun meeting a lot of the participants and donors and getting to know them. And one thing that I've realized about a lot of our donors is their dedication. It has been great to continue to see them at events during the holiday toy season year after year, and there are donors, several here tonight, that have been with the organization longer than I have, or just as long, and it's exciting to see them still very involved. The Blood Cancer Foundation in Michigan means a lot to people for a variety of reasons, and it continues to mean a lot to me. Thank you for all your support. Even with the challenges that we have faced, your support is helping us to continue to provide the beneficial services to our patients and families like the founders had intended 70 years ago. So thank you.
All right. 70 years is a great milestone, but to us, it's just the beginning. The therapeutic future is bright for patients diagnosed with blood cancers. Recovery and cure are more attainable than ever before, but patients need us now more than ever. Healthcare and out-of-pocket costs are rising. Inflation continues to be a challenge. Treatment still causes an outsized number of parents or adults to leave the workforce to care for themselves or a family member or a child. At BCFM, we're evolving to meet the changing needs of our patients. Right now, we've just launched our Patient Growth Initiative. We know that there was a screening gap during the pandemic, and we're working alongside our healthcare partners as they close that screening gap to identify those patients that need support and get to them. As I said before, about 77% of our patients fall within that ALICE guideline. But at BCFM, that diagnosis that can be a disaster for them, we can offer them a ladder to stability. We're reducing the long-term burden on the social safety net, producing stronger families, and statewide reduction in need for social services over time. Right now, we're taking action to get those patients connected to our critical support services and continue the tradition of never turning away a patient who needs our services. We're re-engaging our healthcare partners across the state. We're hearing from our social workers that the needs are growing, and we're working to meet them. We're adding staff in strategic areas as their caseloads are getting too large, and we're trying to do everything that we can to meet the unmet needs out there. We're increasing the reimbursement for travel and prescription coverage, finding innovative ways to provide financial support to grow stability, and growing our footprint with a patient-targeted marketing strategy in new and different ways to meet patients where they are. We're creating reserves for those families that we know need us, but whom we've not yet found. The screening gap is great. We're working alongside our healthcare partners to provide services as they close it. We intend to honor Sylvia and Harry's promise that we will never turn away anyone, and we will carry on Sandy and Kim's legacy to ensure that the services remain available until they are no longer needed. As we work to ensure that there is a light held high in the darkness for patients and families to see, I'd like to introduce you to one of our board members, Stuart Best. Stuart will be leading us in an opportunity to help to ensure that those patients have the resources that they need.
Thank you, Heidi. As Heidi mentioned, my name is Stuart Best. I'm a partner with a law firm of Weltman, Weinberg, and Reese, and I'm also a current board member for the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan. You've heard many stories tonight. I'll keep mine very short. But 5 years ago, when I was approached by Heidi to join the board, and I'm, as a partner at a law firm, you can assume we are always asked to join boards. Most times people are looking for free legal advice. But so what I decided to do was take a look at this one a little bit further. And I dug in just a lot deeper and took a deeper dive into the foundation. And a couple of things that I found that struck me. First of all, as you've heard tonight already, this foundation is not one that's trying to cure a disease. Instead, we support families through this horrible, horrible time in their life. Originally, this was the Blood Cancer Foundation. Before the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, we were the Children's Leukemia Foundation. And when I first joined the board, a couple of the things that I was looking at and that I learned right out of the box was that as a family, when you had a child that was diagnosed with cancer, think about this for a minute. One of the parents typically has to leave their job because the time necessary to take care of that child, to get them to and from treatment, to take care of that child. So think about that. Your family has just now had a diagnosis of cancer. One of your family members has to leave their employment, so half of your income is gone. Your expenses are exceeding, they're getting higher, and the stress level in your family is probably through the roof at this point. Well, what I found is that's exactly where the Blood Cancer Foundation of Michigan, or at the time, the Children's Leukemia Foundation, jumps in. And as you've heard, we provide emotional support, we provide education, social work, many, many different things to these families. And to me, I found that this was a goal that I wanted to assist and keep going forward. Each one of our families is assigned a patient support specialist that meets with them daily, weekly, monthly as they need, and builds a special plan for that family. Now, also some things that I found was that the foundation has got a 4-star rating with Charity Navigator. For those of you that do donate to organizations like ours, know that Charity Navigator is one of those organizations that oversees and looks to see what an organization is about. The 4-star rating is the top rating provided. And let me explain to you the definition from Charity Navigator. It says this is an exceptional organization, exceeds industry standards, and outperforms most charities in their cause. Heidi has brought this foundation up to that point in the last 8 years, and specifically in the last 4 to 5 years, has brought it even further. So now tonight, we're asking for you to assist in supporting this organization. We have a goal tonight. Doing the math and breaking this down, we find that each family is about $1,000 a year to support. We're looking to support 50 families this year for 1 year out of this evening. So that's a $50,000 total donation. Yet, tonight, before the gala started, we had an anonymous donor said, look, I'm gonna do it for you and take half that away as matching funds. For every dollar you donate tonight, our anonymous donor is gonna give us $1 for that. So instead of looking for $25,000 or $50,000 tonight, we're looking for $25,000. Now, I'm a collection attorney, and the first thing I learned in that business, if you don't ask, you're never going to get. So, if there's anyone in the room that would like to start us off and match our anonymous donor, I'll be glad to take that donation. We can take that in a one sum, or as we like to say in the business, we can take that on a monthly payment plan. Now, at your table, there's 2 things. First of all, I'd like to show you've seen the paddles that are sitting there. Around the room, we have some individuals who will identify you. If you'd like to give a donation this evening as I go forward, raise your paddle up. We will identify that and identify the amount of the donation. Now, the next thing, if you notice, is we're high-tech. There's a little QR code on the one side. You can hit that with your phone, and the QR code will allow you then to take care of the payment. Again, that payment can be on a monthly, daily, weekly, however often you'd like to donate, we'll take it. So, let's break this down a little bit further. Collection business was good this year, but not that good, so $25,000 is a little bit much for even me, and even my partner. So, as we go forward, what I'd like to ask is for you to reach down and assist these families. Reach deep. So what I'd like to do, let's break it down even further. If we can get maybe 5 donors to get us $5,000 apiece, that will get us to that $25,000, i.e. a $50,000 goal tonight. You'll be helping 50 families for one entire year go through this horrid disease and assist them and bring them along. So if you'd like, I don't see any paddles coming up yet. No. All right.
Oh, I see one over there.
There we go. Thank you.
Number 7.
All right, so let's put you down to reality to where maybe we can afford it. And I'm going to start this one off. We're looking for 25 then. 25 donations of $1,000 a piece. 20. We got it to 5. Thank you. I'm bad at math as it comes to money. I'm going to start this. We have someone already beating me. How about that? There we go. We've got a couple already for us. Yes, there we go. 175, number 12. And also, my wife doesn't know this yet, but we're actually going to donate our $1,000 to bring that up as well, to bring us along tonight. Thank you, Peggy. Got another one down here.
213.
We're getting close to our goal.
Number 39, thank you so much. Number 199, thank you so much. 91, thank you. 175 again, thank you so much. 1, got it.
Now, this evening, besides checking out at using the QR code, you also have another option. For those of you that still like to donate, coming down a little bit less than my $1,000 ask, first of all, thank you all this evening that have donated so far. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So also on your table this evening is an envelope. You can take this with you. You can drop it off this evening. This will allow you, if you'd like, to make a smaller donation. Be glad to take that this evening as well. Credit card, checks, etc. You can place it in here, and on the way out the table, you can drop it off. Or if you'd like, we do have it self-addressed so it can be sent back to the organization. Also, at any time you feel, and once you see, and spend a few moments if you would tonight if you haven't, to go to our website and take a look more. No matter, you learned a lot tonight of what we do, but take a look at the website and you'll see further what this organization does. And once you see that, if you haven't donated tonight, even if you haven't like to give us some more, there's always a donation button there as well. We'd really like to ask you to help support us and spread the word. This is a wonderful organization. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you very much for your donations.
Thank you, Stuart. So in closing, I'd just like to again thank the honorees, special guests, Meade, Lexus, Beaumont, and our incredible committee, and all that you all have done to support this charity. I'm also excited to announce that we've exceeded our goal of $100,000 tonight, which is pretty amazing. So thank you so much on behalf of all the patients and families that we'll serve. So good night, drive safely, and thanks again for your support.